Good evening, everyone. Before we start our presentation, I just wanted to acknowledge the Goolagin people whose lands Trinity College is on and pay respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. And we'll start with a prayer. This is a prayer for a new journey. A journey once taken, we now choose a different path, moving forward as one body into a future filled with possibility. We walk without maps, but we walk confidently, and we walk with hope, because we have chosen to be lights for each other while on the way. We travel forward along a way we have not gone before. We travel as one who is called forth to life. We travel in need, dependent on the Lord for strength, for assurance, dependent on each other, his instruments for love. Leaving known paths behind us, we choose the journey forward in faith and service. As the journey brought us here, so now we begin it anew in company. Let us pray that we may travel into our future with trust that enables us to put our hand into the hand of God, confident that it will be better than a light and safer than a known way. Amen.
Earlier this year, we introduced this model, the Trinity Difference, to further explain how we work towards our college vision. Inspired by Jesus, we make a difference. The Trinity Difference is the combination of knowledge, character and skills that will equip our graduates with the tools of success for schooling, work and life. As you go through your subject selection process, please know that we will support the ongoing development of our students in their chosen pathway so that they too can go on and make a difference. This information session provides important information and will guide students and parents towards people who can help in the decision-making process.
During the presentation, you'll hear from a number of people, including our Deputy Principal, Mrs. Cheryl Profanis, our VCE Coordinator, Mrs. Karen A. Hart, our vcal Coordinator, Ms. Pam Scott, our VET and SBA Coordinator, Mrs. Julie Damasi, and our Director of Learning, Mrs. Libby Ryan. Thank you.
The purpose of this presentation is to give our Year 10 students and their families an overview of the various pathways available to students as they choose their subjects. We also encourage our Year 9 students who are considering studying an accelerated VCE subject to view this presentation, as it may help them with their future choices. We're also aware that we have a number of parents that are most knowledgeable about VC and vcal, and we trust that there may be just a nugget of information that will be of value to you. However, we also know that there are many first-time parents entering this unknown territory of senior secondary school. We trust that the information in this presentation helps you become more familiar with the various processes that are in place to assist your child in making their pathway choices. The most important thing for our families to remember, though, is that you are not alone on this journey. We have a passionate and caring team, each with their own speciality area, here to answer your queries. On the screen, you will see a list of staff that are closely involved with the subject selections for our Year 9 and 10 students. Students can also approach the learning area facilitators, whose names are on the screen, and who facilitate the curriculum in the various learning areas. The subject selection process we follow begins with this presentation. Subject-specific information sessions will be held for Year 9 and 10 students, followed by an interview process. Year 10 students have received the times for their interviews, and Year 9 students are welcome to book an interview time with Ms. Ryan. The important date to remember, however, which is the due date for our current years 9 and 10, 11 students to submit their preferences. There are also various resources available to our students. Students have received a printed copy of our school's curriculum handbook, to which there is a link on our college webpage. Students should also refer to the Victorian Curriculum Assessment Authority, the VCAA, webpage for a copy of a Pathways booklet entitled Where To Now, There's a link on your screen to a PDF version of this booklet. We also encourage students to become familiar with the Victorian Tertiary Admissions Centre, or the VTAC website. Now, students can register and log on details so that both parents and students can gain access about post-secondary school studies. There are also important resources on this webpage, such as a guide for prerequisites for further study, a VTAC Year 10 guide, and of course there are always many job guides in the Careers Office. So, for our Year 9 students going into Year 10, what will change for you? Well, first of all, of course, you're moving to senior school, but you are also given the option to study one VCE or VET subject. So why should you consider studying a VCE VET subject in Year 10? Well, as an accelerated unit, the work involved provides excellent preparation for VCE. This accelerated study prepares students to complete a sequence of units in 3-4 in Year 11, which will add to a student's Australian tertiary admissions rank, what we colloquially refer to as the ATAR, and which provides a ranking to universities on which to base their offers to students. Additionally, we have also analysed our VCE data over many years, and there is clear positive evidence of success for Year 11 students who completed a Unit 3-4 sequence in Year 11. Our results show that the Unit 3-4 subject that students studied in Year 11 is often their top scoring study score. So, the questions that Year 9 students should now be asking is, am I capable and willing to undertake an accelerated VCE VET subject in Year 10? In addition, am I willing to work hard for this accelerated subject? Am I able to balance this subject with other Year 10 subjects? And then, which VCE VET subject will I study? To answer those questions, you'll see that there is a little blue block at the bottom of your screen with references to page numbers. So just keep referring to those page numbers because that will give you some additional information. So that's for our Year 9 students. The transition for our Year 10 students going into Year 11 is even greater because there are so many more choices for our students. So, for our Year 10 students going into Year 11, what stays the same? You have the same homework structure, same uniform, you continue with your VCE Religion and Society studies. Only this year you'll be doing Unit 2. But what changes? What changes really is that we have increased expectations from our Year 11 students, especially in terms of homework, efforts, focus, motivation, and leadership. And in addition, there are many curriculum choices which will provide you with many different opportunities. So, Year 10 students, you need to consider, which pathway will I choose? Are you going to be doing VCE or vcal? Are you going to be doing VC subjects as part of your vcal? Which of those subjects will you choose? There are a variety of VC and VET subject options. There are a variety of vcal options. So in a sense, the first choice you need to make is which of the 2 secondary certificates will you be following? We have the Victorian Certificate of Education, what we all call the VCE, and that has a more academic focus. We have the Victorian Certificate of Applied Learning, what we all call the vcal, and that has a practical focus. However, what's important to remember is that both these certificates recognise that students have completed a senior secondary qualification. And now, to explain a little bit more about the VCE and vcal, we'll have Karen Hart and Pam Scott to give you more information.
Hi, my name's Karen Hart and I'm the VCE Coordinator at Trinity College Colac. I just want to talk to you about VCE as an overall concept as you come into your senior years at Trinity College and what it means for you to undertake this part of your educational journey. So VCE is a secondary certificate that is designed to be completed over 2 years, and that's generally done through your year 11 and 12 at Trinity. There are various options to ensure that your educational journey is personalised and specific to your aspirations once you leave school. Once VCE is completed, which you will do through internal and external assessments, all students receive a rank along with all other VCE students in Victoria, and this rank is used for entry into tertiary education. This rank is called the ATAR and is what is commonly referred to throughout VCE journey. vcal students are able to choose VCE subjects that are related to their specific TAFE course or chosen trade, but there can be timetable impacts or restrictions within that, but we work really hard to get around those. The general approach to completing your VCE is Unit 1 and Unit 2 when you're in Year 11 is completed each semester. So Unit 1 will be completed over the duration of Semester 1 and Unit 2 will be completed over Semester 2 duration. And same when you move into Year 12, Unit 3 will be in Semester 1 and Unit 4 will be in Semester 2. To gain a satisfactory completion of VCE, you must successfully complete 16 units in total. 3 of those units of English, which can be English and or literature, which must include units 3 and 4, English or literature, as a sequence. So that means running one after the other. And then you must complete 3 other unit 3 and 4 sequences. And then along with those are 8 or more units. This can come across quite complicated, but it will be a lot clearer once you go through your subject selection. But that is the minimum that you must complete, and that's set out by vcal, which is also known as the Victorian Curriculum and Assessment Authority. Trinity students are expected to complete 24 units to ensure you have a well-rounded VCE journey, and it ensures various options beyond your secondary education for whatever course or whatever future you may have in mind. So what does a satisfactory mean in VCE? So it encompasses a lot of different components that you will be responsible for. So work completed demonstrates achievement of the outcomes. So every study design or every subject has specific outcomes that we must ensure you display key knowledge and skills of that related to that subject. So that is the idea of school-based assessment tasks. We have a combination of assessment tasks and class tasks. They need to be completed. This shows that you have a well-rounded and comprehensive understanding of our subject. All deadlines set for work must be met, and your work can be authenticated, which we can prove that it's your own, and this can be done, or we can make sure that your work is authenticated through your attendance, which must be as per Trinity College expectations. As you enter your senior years, the expectation of your academic rigour will increase. So academic rigour is when you as students are challenged to think, perform and grow to a level that you have not been at previously. Part of your academic rigour increasing will be different academic expectations, completing all your assessment tasks and classwork tasks by due dates. As students, you will be provided with various opportunities to develop and demonstrate your key knowledge and skills for your subjects that you've chosen. It is your responsibility to make the most of these opportunities, such as lunchtime classes, after-school tutoring, and ensure you do reflection on your feedback from teachers. VCE is a journey that is the beginning of your career. All your results will reflect your effort and commitment to each and every subject. VCE is an exciting part of your educational journey, but if you have any other questions about your subject selection or the expectations from vcal or what you need to complete in order to complete your Victorian Certificate of Education, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. Thanks.
Hi all, I'm Pam Scott. I coordinate and teach the VCAL here at Trinity College, and I'm just going to talk you through a few slides to explain a little bit about the VCAL pathway. So, what makes the VCAL unique? All VCAL assessment tasks are competency-based, meaning there are no formal exams. The work we do is more practical in nature and aims to build a better knowledge of work-related and project-based skills. The VCAL curriculum offers flexibility and can be structured to meet the needs of the individual student. And the core VCAL subjects aim to prepare students for work and life beyond school while continuing to challenge and develop their literacy and numeracy skills. There are limited opportunities for university entry as students do not receive an ATAR on completion of their vcal studies. So the vcal really is best suited to students interested in TAFE courses, apprenticeships, traineeships and/or full-time employment. So here we have our 6-line vcal subject grid. Every Trinity College student completes RE as part of their senior studies. Students will study RE Unit 2 over one semester and will need to choose a VCE Unit 1 or 2 subject for the remaining semester. This slide gives a bit more information in regards to the subject selections. As you can see, personal development skills is a core subject and must be undertaken in both intermediate and senior VCal. VCal literacy could be covered by VCE English, VCal numeracy could be covered by VCE Maths. We'll move to the next slide to explain what's going on with the elective subjects. As you can see here, VCal work-related skills can be covered by VET certificates, technology units such as wood or textiles, or by undertaking a school-based apprenticeship. It's a similar setup for industry-specific skills. This can also be covered by VET certificates, both on or off campus. Basically, you'll be doing at least one VET and at least one technology unit as part of your VCal. It's really important to understand that school-based apprenticeships are not automatically available for students to choose as a subject. Arrangements for school-based apprenticeships must be approved by Julie DeMasi and all paperwork must be completed before an SBA becomes part of a student timetable. Students need to be proactive here and look for their own SBA opportunities as much as possible. So that's VCal in a nutshell. Please feel free to contact me if you would like clarification on anything or have any questions at all. Thanks for your time.
My name is Julie DeMasi. I am the Careers and VET Coordinator here at Trinity College. As part of my role, I will now be assisting students with subject selections. I will be predominantly talking about VET options for students. So what is a VET course? VET courses are applied learning courses. They are competency-based and nationally accredited. They give students a good insight into industries, and many of our students move from a VET course into a school-based apprenticeship or full-time employment. They are hands-on practical training which gives students workplace skills required to move into employment within the industry. Students are able to do a VET course in years 10, 11 and 12. VET courses are usually run over 2 years. Applications for VET off-campus studies will open on the 3rd of August. Students should see me if they wish to pursue this option. This needs to be done as soon as possible as some courses fill quickly. VET course options. So there are many options available to students undertaking a VET course. There's on-campus VET options. These are offered as part of our daily timetable, and here at Trinity College we offer agriculture and sport and recreation. There are also options to study off campus. These students who study these courses are required to attend the COVEC trade training centres, either here at Trinity College or at Colac Secondary College, or we have students that also travel to Geelong. Hospitality is offered here at Trinity College, and automotive and building and construction are offered at Colac Secondary College. Courses like hairdressing, beauty, animal studies, electrotechnology, plumbing and many, many more are offered in Geelong. What you need to do. So for those students in Year 9, VET is an accelerated option and students will be required to complete an application process. VET off-campus options are chosen as an extra subject which is additional to normal timetabled classes. Students should choose their Trinity subjects as normal. There are costs involved, which is in addition to school fees. Students in Year 9 must make an appointment to see me to discuss this option, and parents are also required to be part of this process. For students in Years 10 and 11, within the subject selection program, students are able to choose a VET subject. If you're wanting to undertake sport and recreation or agriculture, this will be listed in your subject selections. All other external VET subjects that are offered through the Gordon should be under VET External. Students in years 10 and 11 must also make an appointment to see me to discuss options, and parents will need to be part of this process. I was wanting to touch base on school-based apprenticeships as well. In regards to subject selections, unless a student already has a school-based apprenticeship, and that's mostly likely to be our students in year 11 this year, students are unable to choose this as an option. If you would like to discuss this as an option, you need to make an appointment to see me. Further information can be obtained by seeing me. I am located in the Careers Office in the Resource Centre. I can be contacted by telephoning 52 339 237 or by email jdamarcy@tcc.vic.edu.au. Ms Libby Ryan will now speak to you about deciding on your study pathway. Thank you.
Hi everybody, you've had a lot of options presented to you and I'm going to speak to you about deciding on your study pathway. On this slide there is a summary of the pathways that are available to you. So you've got the VCE pathway and the vcal pathway, and underneath that you have the VET pathway, which is a vocational education and training program. Coming from each of those, you've got some decisions to make. So the most important one of all is to decide which stream you're going to go down and where you want to end up at the end. So clearly the VCal and VET pathway can take you to the TAFE and employment stream, and the VCE pathway is designed to take you through to university study. So for Year 10s at Trinity, there is a requirement that you study 4 elective units over the year, and you can accelerate in one VCE Unit 1 and 2 study. So if you want to accelerate into a VCE study, it's not automatic. You need to apply, and there is an application form available. You'll need to fill that out, think about what qualities you have that will lead you to being a good candidate to be able to accelerate. And then I will look at your academic record, I'll look at your reports, I'll discuss with people whether it's appropriate for you to accelerate. You will have to get a teacher recommendation, and it will also be dependent on the available places, because students who are studying at Year 11 will take priority over a Year 10 student wanting to accelerate, so that's fair. If you refer to your subject offerings on page 13 and 14, you'll be able to evaluate which VCE subject you wish to study in Year 10. We recommend that you don't choose a Year 10 subject that is too similar to your VCE subject, as the Year 10 subject often forms the foundation for your VCE unit. So think carefully about not having two things that are similar. The choice of a VCE or VET subject to accelerate will be equivalent to 2 preferences, as the VCE VET subject is studied in both semesters. There'll be a year level session where I'll explain that further to you. A Year 10 student who is not studying an accelerated subject in Unit 1 and 2 will have 6 lines available to them. And I've given you an example here. So in semester 1 and 2, you've got your English in line 1, maths in line 2, a choice in line 3 of science or humanities. In line 4, that's taken up by your RE and HPE. And in line 5, you've got your elective preference. And in line 6, you've got your elective preference. A Year 10 student who's studying an accelerated VCE unit, your line will look like this. So in line 6, preferences 3 and 4 will be your VCE Unit 1 and 2 elective. For Year 11 students, when you enter Year 11 next year, you'll be studying 5 elective units over the year, English or literature, plus 4 others. You can also undertake 1 Unit 3-4 study if you've been in the accelerated program previously. So for advanced entry to a Unit 3-4 VCE or VET subject, you may undertake only one. The subject is usually the one that you are studying now in your 1-2 sequence. And if you want to choose a 3-4 subject that you haven't studied in Year 10, you'll need to consult with the subject teacher and myself to decide whether that's an appropriate action for you. So the Year 11 subject preferences, you can see them on the screen. You have your core units of religion and English, and then you have your VCE elective units. So for students intending to follow a VCE course, you have to choose 4 VCE or VET subjects, as well as 1 Unit 1 or Unit 2 subject. VCE electives, Unit 1 or 2 is your 7th preference, and then you have to choose some reserve subjects, and you'll see those at the bottom of your screen. If we are unable to get you into your subjects from earlier up the list, those reserves become really important. So choose them carefully. For the Year 11 subjects across the 6-line grid, you can see an example of that here. So notice that your line 6 is your Unit 1 or your RE Unit 2. Students will study VCE RE Unit 2 over 1 semester, so that takes the place of a sequence there. So you'll have one single study and you'll have an RE study unit in the other semester. So that opportunity to choose that one single VCE unit gives you a chance to have a taste at something different, and we have had students who have changed their minds about their sequences in Unit 3-4 after they've studied that single unit. So it's a bit of a taster, gives you a chance for a little bit further opportunity to explore something else just for one unit. Students who are completing only Unit 1 and 2 subjects, I'm going to put up a scenario here for you to have a look at. So RE and English are compulsory, and then you have your choices available. So you might choose physics, maths, PE, chemistry, and your single unit choice is biology. Here's how it looks on the grid. So you can see at the left there, we've got what it would look like and what Year 12 would look like. So you can see that for this particular student who's only doing Unit 1 and 2 subjects, no acceleration, all of those first subjects just follow through, and in the very last line they do RE in semester 1, biology in Unit 2, in semester 2, and then when they get into Year 12, of course, they are the studies that don't continue, and they go into that becomes their RE and study block. If we look at a second scenario, these are students who are still only completing Unit 1 and 2 subjects. So we've got our compulsory subjects at the top. We've got physics, maths, PE, chemistry, biology, Unit 1 in semester 1. And if we look at that on the grid, you'll see that there's a little bit of a difference. So this student has decided that they wanted to do chemistry in Unit 1 and 2, but then they wanted to discontinue chemistry when they got to Year 12 and they took up biology. Now the reason they did that is because biology was their single unit in 2021. So that was the case study I talked about before, where kids have had a look and said, I really like biology and I'm going to change my mind about what I thought I was doing. So it gives you another option. The third scenario is for students who are completing a Unit 3 and 4 subject in Year 11. So that means you've accelerated in your Year 10 year. So again, RE and literature is the choice for this student because they're using literature as their compulsory English study. Then they've gone into choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, English, music, business, choice 4, legal, and choice 5 is biology unit 2. Now you'll notice that this student has got 2 different English studies, and that's perfectly acceptable and an option. Here's how it looks on the grid. So this student did literature in Year 11, English, music, BizMan Unit 1, Chemistry Unit 2, Legal Unit 3 and 4, RE in first semester and Biology in second semester. So this student chose to then continue with their Biology Unit 3, 4 in Year 12, and the line where they had previously had Unit 2 RE and Biology becomes their RE study line. So when you see it visually, it makes sense to you about how many lines there are with available subjects to fill them up. So I want to encourage you that if you need pathways support, it is there for you. And it is confusing sometimes trying to work out what you want to do. So in Year 11, there is a careers interview which is optional for you, and you can take that up if you feel you need to. There is subject selection support. There is careers advice on hand at any time from the pathways support people. When you get to Year 12, there is also a careers interview, which you can opt out of if you don't think it's necessary for you. There is support in helping you to establish what pathway you want to choose post-Trinity, post-school. We will help you create your VTAC account. We'll give you advice and support when you are trying to make your university selections. There are regular updates and support throughout the year in relation to timelines, scholarships, CESE applications. So be really engaged with the communication that the school sends to you from Mrs. DeMasi or your coordinators. There's a lot of information that comes out, and there's some great scholarships and opportunities available for you, but you'll only know about them if you read your communications. When you're making your pathway choices, you need to think about what is the content of that study, what is studied in the subject, will I like it, will I be able to manage the combination of subjects that I've chosen. We recommend that you think carefully about the choices you make. For example, folio subjects have a lot of work to them. You might not want to do too many of those together because the workload can become quite challenging. So think about what your future career path is. Will this combination of subjects lead me to the job that I want? And have I covered the prerequisites for further study that there might be on the VTAC pages? And finally, what are you good at? And what do you enjoy? They're the most important choices that you need to consider when you're selecting the subjects that you're going to study. It's really hard to do well in a subject that you don't enjoy and that you're struggling in. Can I caution you not to base your decision on the subject teacher? For the first instance, that can change. The timetable might not allow that particular teacher who's teaching it this year to teach it next year. So please don't choose it based on the subject teacher. Please don't choose it based on which one of your friends are doing the class. Things change all the time, and we encourage you to choose as an individual so that you're making the right choice for you. And please don't listen to the rumours and gossip that this subject's running or this subject's not running. Make your choices based on what the options are to you, and then we will work out, based on the numbers that choose a subject, which ones run and which ones don't run. But they definitely won't run if you don't choose them. So please don't listen to the gossip that occurs every year about what is going to run and what isn't. So please, in finishing my part up, I encourage you to speak to people for help with your subject selections. Your parents and guardians, your subject teachers are a wealth of information, your year level coordinator, the learning area facilitators in English and maths and science and design and technology have tremendous experience and things that they can tell you about where it leads. Talk to other students about whether they enjoyed your subject, and talk to professionals in the field. They will also be able to tell you what pathway they chose and whether what you're thinking about is a good option for you. Ask questions and make really informed decisions. Thanks, everybody.
We're almost at the conclusion of our presentation. However, we do want to go back to the question of the ATAR that we mentioned earlier on in the presentation. If you remember, the ATAR is an acronym for the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, and it is used as one of the tools to determine which students are offered what place at the different universities. Some students fall into the trap of thinking that they should choose a VCE subject that will give them a higher ATAR. This is not so. Our advice to our students is to always choose subjects that they love, that they're passionate about, that they want to do. Because surely it stands to reason that if you do a subject you love, you will do better at it, as opposed to perhaps choosing a subject you don't enjoy that you think may give you a good ATAR. So for that reason, and because many students ask us about the ATAR, we're going to take just a few moments to explain some of the finer details about the ATAR to you. As already explained, students usually study 5 or 6 Unit 3-4 sequences for their VCE. Each of these sequences receives a study score out of 50. These study scores are scaled according to their difficulty, and the scaled study scores are used to calculate the ATAR. The 4 primary subjects used for the ATAR are English or literature, and then the next top 3 scaled study scores. So those make up the 4 primary subjects. Then for subjects 5 and 6, 10% of the subject's score is added to the final score, which is then converted to a ranking, which compares all students across all studies in Victoria. This may make more sense if I show you a working example. So on your screen, you will see the scale score for English and then scale scores for the next best 3 studies, or primary 4. In this case, the student got 32 for English or literature, and the next 3 scores were 36, 30, and 29. Those are added together, and then 10% of the scale score of the 5th subject, in this case 28, becomes 2.8. 10% of the scale score of the 6th study, 25, which becomes 2.5. That's added together, and for this student, that addition comes to 132.3. That score is then placed on a rank between 0 and 100. So a 100-point scale. So, for example, a 132.3 could give a student an ATAR of 73. In other words, that's how they're placed on the rank. A total of, say, 208 could give a student an ATAR of 99.95. The important thing, I think, for students and for parents to remember, it's a ranking which compares all students across all studies. So on your screen, you have a scenario, a student, say, in year 11. You'll notice there that the student did the usual 5 subjects, units 1 and 2 in year 11. They have done Unit 1, RE, and Legal Unit 2. They went into Year 12. They continued those 5 subjects as a Unit 3-4. They could choose to do PE as a Unit 3-4, or they could pick up the Legal Study Unit 2 or 1 that they did and do it as a Unit 3-4 in Year 12. That student has 5 Unit 3-4 sequences, and so they will get the primary 4 and then 10% from their 5th subject. On your screen, you'll see a scenario 2. Another Year 11 student, they've done their 5 subjects, but notice there, this student did PE Unit 1 and 2 in Year 10, which means that they will do PE Unit 3 and 4 in Year 11. So for this student, they will do their 4 Unit 1-2 subjects. They will do their PE as a Unit 3-4, and then of course their other 2 units, which will be RE Unit 1 or Legal Unit 2. That student in Year 12 will then finish off their Unit 3-4. They pick up the Legal Unit 2. They continue with Legal Unit 3 and 4. They have already done PE as a Unit 3-4, Hence, this student has 6 Unit 3-4 sequences. Primary 4 will count, and 10% of their 2 lowest study scores will then count towards their ATAR. What's important to remember though is VET subjects also link to the ATAR. So a VET subject with a scored assessment, for example, VET sport and recreation, will be scored just as any other VCE subject. We do have VET subjects that don't have a scored assessment exam. An example of this is VET agriculture. And this is calculated using 10% of the lowest study score of the student's initial primary 4. So I know there's a lot of nuances and a lot of different things for working out the ATAR, but that just gives you a little bit of a sense of what the ATAR can do. So we're at the end of our presentation, and we know that we have bombarded you with a great deal of information in this presentation. Thankfully, it is in a video format, so you can make yourself another cup of coffee, and on another day when you feel up to it, you can choose which parts of this presentation you want to rewatch. Please remember that our staff members are here and they are really willing and keen to help you through this journey. We are very glad that we are able to walk this journey with you. Go well, and thank you once again.
Subject selections online. So you'll receive an email from noreply@selectmysubjects.com.au. If you do not have that email, if your student doesn't have that email, get them to check their junk or clutter, or they can contact Mr. James at sjames@tcc.vic.edu.au. On that email, you'll have a link that you can then click on to complete preferences. Preferences are due on the 11th of August at 11:30 p.m. and they'll have to be signed digitally by a parent and guardian as well as a student. This is a sample of what the email will look like. The address is at the top, no reply. Please check your junk folder if this isn't in your regular folder. So make sure you check that you have got this email and you click on the link for your web preferences. This will then open the following website and it'll have your instructions for whichever year level you're going to be in 2022. Click on the green button to start the selection process. Once you answer all questions and put in the subjects that you want, you'll get this screen that'll have the student's signature on it. Students must sign this screen and then click the Save Signature button. This will then open up a link to send the preferences to a parent or guardian. Subject selection is not complete until a parent or guardian has signed the selections. So just remember, complete online selections, including the parent signatures, by 11:30 p.m, Tuesday the 11th of August. Thank you.